Alrighty, everybody on. It is game on, and we are going to get started here tonight. Hey, we just want to give a really big welcome to everyone who's joining us for the Timberwolves Academy Jay Robinson 21-day intensive camp live webcast. My name is Sue, and I'm the brand manager for the Jay Robinson camp system. Tonight, what we're going to do, we're going to introduce you to what makes our basketball camp intensive model so remarkably different from other summer training options. We know that there are endless camp choices out there, but we're so confident that we're the only 21-day intensive camp that will definitely have the biggest impact on raising a player's mental and physical strength to levels you didn't really think possible. So just to give you a heads up, tonight's broadcast will last approximately 35 minutes, and we've got plenty of time afterwards for the live Q&A with our camp leadership team. Really, our goal tonight is to cover the main questions that we've been getting from athletes and parents who are really not familiar with what an intensive training camp option is. So just to give you an overview, what we're going to do tonight, we're going to talk about who is Jay Robinson. For some of you who maybe aren't familiar, he is a very well-known wrestling coach, and you might be wondering, what does he have to do with an intensive basketball camp system? We're also going to talk about our unique alliance with the Minnesota Timberwolves that we've created for this hybrid camp. We're going to talk about why we wanted to partner with this NBA team because they're so active in our Minnesota community. At that time, I'll turn it over to Jay, who, again, he's the founder of the intensive camp system, and he'll give his background of training athletes and answer, again, what you're all wondering, what the heck is a 21-day intensive camp? And how will this system dramatically change a player's physical and mental toughness? And after that, then Jay turns it over to our camp director, who is head coach Bo Powell. And what Bo's going to do is just kind of go over what key skills and fundamentals he's going to emphasize at camp, talk about some of our training sessions that are exclusive to our camp system, and the highlights. Then we're going to finish off with Jay explaining his J7 core training philosophy, which is the foundation of what we feel how a competitive athlete handles competition. And then in closing, I'll give a brief explanation of our registration process. We've got installment plans, which we think are really unique to this type of camp, and then just how you go about contacting the camp office. One thing you should be aware of is that there is a live online chat available throughout the entire webcast, and we've got our veteran staff handling all the questions at that time, and there's also a live Q&A with Bo and Jay at the end. And the webcast will also be available on demand for free at our website, intensivebasketballcamps.com. So again, once again, we welcome you tonight, and we really appreciate the time that you are spending with us. So just to give you a little background about who is this Jay Robinson. Jay Robinson brings over 40 years of coaching experience to building the Jay Robinson intensive camp system. His first wrestling intensive camp launched in 1978, and since then we've had over 30,000 athletes experience firsthand the dramatic life changes this camp has made. The foundation of Jay's training philosophy is built on his experience as an Army Airborne Ranger, a 1972 Olympian, and he's also the current head wrestling coach at the University of Minnesota. And Jay will kind of go into detail a little bit later about why he knows and is confident his model will transition over to basketball. And then just to give you a little bit more background on our camp, if you want to go to the camp website and check out some just amazing testimonials that we've had from our camp graduates and their parents, they've really taken the time to let us know how powerful our camp model affects not only the young athletes in competition, but also in life. Our camp model has proven results in athletic performance on teenagers during crucial development phases of their life. In a 2012 study conducted by the Institute for the Study of Youth Sports at Michigan State University, researchers concluded that the J. Robinson intensive camp model was highly effective at enhancing the psychological development of camp participants, especially in the following areas of goal setting, peaking under pressure, concentration, coping with adversity, achievement, motivation, and confidence. I know we have people tuned in tonight from across the country and even overseas. And just to give you some background, J. Robinson intensive camps are based in Minnesota, with summer camp locations across the country focused on wrestling. We have explored venturing into developing other sports camps with our training mode, but wanted the right partner to do so with. Finally, this year, we aligned with Minnesota's NBA team. The Minnesota Timberwolves have long been a force in our community of supporting youth basketball and attaining excellence through sports. We're really excited about this alliance with our local and very respected professional NBA team. So enough of the background. I'll get you to the camp leadership team here, and they can really get to the heart of what this camp is all about. So I am going to turn the mic over to Jay Robinson. Again, he is the founder of the Intensive Camp Training System, and he's going to get into the philosophy behind his over 40 years of running sports camps.
Thanks, Sue, and welcome everybody. We're excited that you took the time to explore what an intensive camp is and look at a different kind of training for your athlete that's out there in basketball. This is a concept that's been a proven concept, this 21-day camp. We started it over 37 years ago. It was a 28-day training camp. The intent to begin with was to train athletes the way that we trained when I was a coach at the University of Iowa. And over the course of the 37 years, we've turned it into a developmental camp, both for the physical skills that are needed for an athlete and also the mental. Everybody always asks, why 21 days? Why 28 days? What we started with. And the reason is that over the course of time, we found that time is probably the most critical factor that's needed in the development of an athlete or a person in any kind of discipline, whether it be wrestling, basketball, football. Time is needed, and the time frame that is needed is we need time to redefine different skills that we're trying to teach the athlete. Later on, we'll talk about some of these skills, the discipline, the dedication, and the sacrifice. But those skills are not only life skills, but they're skills that will help your athlete become a better basketball player. And over the course of this 21 days, what we do in this proven system is we redefine these words. And the words are discipline, dedication, sacrifice, hard work, responsibility, accountability, and service. We redefine those words and help the athletes understand what they really have to do to be good at them. We use hard work as something to show them what they can deal with and how they deal with adversity. We get them in situations that are hard for them, and then we give them a way in which they can get out of each situation. And we do that over and over and over. And the whole process of camp has been modeled after Army Ranger School, which is the best leadership school in the United States military. And so this proven foundation helps your athlete grow both mentally, skill-wise, and physical development during the time frame that they're there. We'll focus on not only developing their basketball skills, but it also helps when you develop the individual basketball skills, that melts into good game skills that will help within the game itself. Another thing that people ask all the time is why the Timberwolves and J. Robinson partnership. The reason that we have this partnership is that we have a proven track record of what we do and how we do it. And what we're doing basically is bringing the best of both worlds to you. Over this 37 years, we've developed a proven training model. Training model not just for wrestling, which I've done, but a training model for all athletics. There's 4 areas to be good in any athletics, and we work on all of these. There's technique, there's strength training, there's endurance, and there's the mental game. And we do all these things, and these are the things that we focus on the entire time while we're at camp, right? We're going to bring in, partnering with the Timberwolves, we're going to bring you the best that both worlds have to offer. The Timberwolves and Powell will bring great basketball skill development and mental training and game attitude. And the intensive camp program is a proven system that will develop both the person and the game. So we have refined this learning process, and we're going to bring it forward in these 21 days. Some of the key points that we have while we're at camp is we've spent 37 years, as I said, perfecting this model. In perfecting the model, it's not just about basketball skills, it's about life skills. And the two are interconnected, is that when you become a better basketball player, in many ways you become a better person. And when you become a better person, you become a better basketball player. And so we focus on the things that need to be developed to develop the whole athlete. Our staff while at camp is we have one staff person for every 10 athletes we have at camp. And we have a full-time staff on hand at all times. And that's to deal with all the things that go on during camp. There's a lot of one-on-one with the athletes and the coaches. They spend time in the dorm, and it makes it easy for the athletes to come to the coaches and look for guidance, answer questions, and the relationships that develop over this 21-day period of time becomes very, very special, right? At this time, I'm going to turn this over to Powell, who is our director of basketball operations. And I like to say the thing about Bo, that when we were looking at people and talking, the thing that blew me away about Bo is that he has been successful at every level of basketball. He knows basketball, whether it's youth, whether it's high school, pros, he's been there. And I think that's very important when you're trying to teach people things that they need to be good, is that you have an idea, right? And you have a reference of everywhere where they want to go. When he was coaching in high school, he didn't just take a team that was already good. He took a team, worked with it, brought it forward, took it to the state finals. That takes passion and that takes commitment. And that's what camp is about. That's what makes this camp system completely special than any other camp system in basketball in the country. He's a Minnesota Coach of the Year in 2013. He's the current head coach at Cooper High School. He graduated from the University of North Dakota, and he's been a professional player. So he's done it all. He knows what it is, and he knows what the intensity is needed in the game of basketball. And I think he's going to do a great job of relating that to the athletes that come to the intensive camp. So at this time, I want to turn it over to Bo.
First off, I want to say good evening to everybody, and we appreciate you tuning in with us tonight. I think the first question is for me, and I think for everybody, is why am I leading this camp? And I think the reason for me leading this camp is because of the mix of skill development and character development involved in helping mold young men into complete basketball players, not just from a physical standpoint, but a mental standpoint. That's the basic reason I'm leading the camp. And then they talked about the basketball training philosophy. The training philosophy for us is simple: pushing players to limits that are really unknown to them, that they are able to peak themselves out and able to bring themselves back mentally and physically, even when they are fatigued. So I think that's kind of our biggest philosophy for the camp, and having athletes train a little bit differently than they've trained before. And next, we'll talk a little bit about our camp fundamentals and what kind of makes up fundamentals. And a lot of times when you talk about fundamentals and you talk to players, most of them don't think about fundamentals, because their biggest thing is I want to run up and down the court, I want to shoot and all that. But it comes down to fundamentals. And during our camp, we'll be working on skill training and hard practices, where we work on fine-tuning your skills. But then after we fine-tune those skills, we're going to push you to the max in those hard practices. We're going to do drills and fundamentals, which um, drills will consist of many different drills. Fundamentals, we'll be doing that more than a few times a day. We'll be having intense physical conditioning, cross training, and weightlifting. We'll be working with players on how do I have an intense workout. Sometimes you may think you had an intense workout before, but you haven't had an intense workout until you go through a 21-day camp. Then you can tell me if you had really had an intense workout. We're going to stress physical conditioning, and definitely weightlifting, because that helps all aspects of athletes and basketball players. We'll be doing separate positioning for different groups. We'll be having group runs. Our counselors will be working with these young men during those running. We'll be having different running groups. We'll mix the running groups up a little bit. We'll have an athletic trainer 24/7, so there'll always be somebody there just in case we have some injuries. So it'll be somebody there that'll be able to take care of any of their athletic needs. We'll have our daily seminars where we'll be talking about a lot of different things. We'll be talking about leadership, overcoming adversity. We'll be talking about focus and vision. We'll be talking about setting goals. We'll be talking about game preparation and adjustments. How do I make preparations during the game? How do I make preparations even during my practice? Giving them a little bit more information to take back with them, and so they can establish their own philosophy and kind of put their own footprint on on um, on their game, and kind of fine tune the things that they need to fine tune. We'll talk next kind of about our sample curriculum. This is a pretty small compared to what we're going to do over the 21 days. We'll be talking about what most players like to do is offense. Most of them want to play offense, and we'll be working on offensive footwork. We'll be talking about giving them screening techniques. How to use your body, momentum, how to create space. Not only when you're shooting the ball, but how to create space when you are dribbling and passing. Um, the biggest thing and my most favorite is defensive footwork. How do I use my feet? You can be the quickest guy out there, but the worst defender because your footwork is bad. So we want to make sure we work on your footwork and your technique, and um, because most times defense wins games, not offense. So I always tell players all the time, if you're guarding a player and they score 25 and you score 25, I mean, you haven't really done anything because it's pretty much even at this point. So how do we get stops? And we do that by our footwork and technique. Also working on ball strength, working on ball handling, ball placement, um, working on how to get my feet set towards the baskets, how to get myself in proper shooting position, how I work on my weak hand, whether I'm having a hard time dribbling with my left hand, being able to work on both right and left hand when I'm dribbling. The thing that most players like the most, shooting. Most of them want to shoot. Um, Even though a lot of them have bad form and bad technique, they want to shoot no matter what. But we're going to work on breaking that down, breaking shooting down from the bare basics and kind of building them back up. We won't spend a lot of time changing their form and all that because we're not in a changing form. We just want to give them some more technique, some more things that they can work with, and some drills that they can do even when they're by themselves to help them become a better shooter. We'll talk about game strategy. We'll actually sit down and we'll watch some game film of some different games and kind of teach guys what am I looking for when I'm watching game film, and how am I when I'm strategizing. How do I stay one step ahead of my opponents when I'm on the floor, even when I don't have the ball. Talk about ball control, using dribbling against different defenses, how to be aggressive, how to read defenses when they throw different defenses at you. So we'll be talking about those things as well. And then the biggest piece is having chalk talk, just kind of nightly sessions talking about um, some of your strengths and weaknesses, some of the goods and the bads for today, kind of giving them some motivation and keeping them pumped up, talking about leadership. And one of the big things is talking about nutrition. I can't be an athlete when I'm filling myself with things that's not going to help me maximize my ability. So those are just some sample things from our curriculum that we'll be talking about. Everybody talks about what does the schedule look like? So what does the schedule look like? This is just kind of a snapshot of our day-to-day schedule. It'll change. Um, we'll have some constant change in there, but the bulk of the schedule will begin about 6:30 a.m. Uh, I know most of the young men that I coach aren't morning people. They don't like getting up in the morning, but we'll be getting them up at 6:30. We'll be doing our early morning run or lifting weights or a combination of both. Then the young men will have breakfast, and then we'll have skill practice. Skill practice is where we work on our skills. We'll kind of put them all together and kind of break them down, all the skill development pieces down. After that, then we'll have lunch. Once we come back from lunch, we'll have our hard practice. During hard practice, we'll kind of re-go over what we did in earlier, but we'll do it hard practice, much faster pace, much more intense. We'll do a lot more drills, and we'll do some skill reviews, getting the young men to realize the things that you're doing, asking them questions, and making sure that they understand what we're doing when we're doing it. Because sometimes you do a lot of drills and you do a lot of skills, and they don't understand why am I doing this or when can I use this. So during that time, we'll be telling them, when we showing them how to do a certain move, why you're doing this and what you can use this for and when you can use it. So that's kind of what we'll use in our skill reviews. Um, the next piece after that, we'll have dinner. After that, and after dinner, we'll have our mental attitude training. This is the piece that's helping young men to not only um, hone in on their physical piece, but their mental piece. Because me as a coach, I feel like the mental piece is just, if not more important than your physical piece. Because mentally, you got to be able to think and react even when you become fatigued. And that's kind of what the camp is about, is pushing them to that fatigue limit and being able to mentally still focus on the things that you need to do on the court. After that, we'll go, 8 to about 9:40. We'll go skill review, and then we'll have some gameplay. So, most guys want to play games. That's their big thing. We won't have a lot of time to play games, but we'll get some gameplay and some on the court, so you'll be able to put those things that we worked on in the play in a game situation. Then after that, we'll have a little time, and then we'll have lights out at about 11 o'clock. So that's kind of a snapshot of our daily schedule. And next, we'll talk a little bit about our camp highlights. And we won't go through every single one of our camp highlights, but we'll hit on a few different ones. Um, I think the first one there'll be, it says 3 basketball sessions, so we'll have 3 basketball sessions, but it'll be a total of 4 sessions. And next will be, I think the big piece that'll be for an added bonus for our camp is that we'll be, playing at the Target Center where the Timberwolves play. So we get a chance to play some games down there. We'll get a chance to, of course, do some running down there because the court is a little bit bigger than our court that will be every day. So to give them an opportunity to see the difference between the length and the width of the court. Um, we'll be developing a personal philosophy, like I talked about earlier. Each young man will be doing that personal philosophy. I think the other piece is that we're going to really talk about short-term and long-term goals, and not just short-term and long-term goals based on athletics, but short and long-term goals based on just goals that they're setting for their life, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, having these young men set goals that they want to achieve in a certain amount of time. Because I believe if you don't write those goals down, it's hard to achieve those because you don't have them written down. You can't go back to them to say, these are some things that I want to achieve. Um, we'll be having what we call a red flag day. We'll have 3 of those. And this is kind of um, a more, it's a hard work and more of an intense and constant movement. So the young men will be constantly moving, and it'll be kind of a more intense workout times 2. So it'll be a little bit more than what we do normally. Um, the other piece that I want to talk about is the young men will all go through graduation, and each one of them will be recognized during that time for their achievement. Because this is achievement going through 21 days of just um, picking you from one point to the next. It's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys in there for these young men, but we want to recognize that they stuck with it, they worked hard. There's going to be some days that'll be a little harder than others, but for the most part, we're all in this together. So we want to make sure that no matter your highs or lows, that we're gonna all be together. So we want to all make sure that we celebrate that day and make sure the young men understand that we appreciate their hard work and dedication. Um, I think at this time, I appreciate you listening, and I'm gonna turn this back over to Jay to talk to you about the J7.
Thanks, Bo. um, we want to talk to you a little bit about what we call our J7 philosophy. And this is one of those things when we talk about 37 years of working with athletes, is that this is a system that has been developed over 37 years. It's not a system that on the very first camp that we started in 1978, we figured it all out. It's a system that over time we have reflected, and we found some of the skills that are helpful, very helpful in life, but also in basketball. And we've identified them and we've added to them over the course of this 37 years. For the first probably 20 years, we always talked about our 4 real basic skills with discipline, dedication, sacrifice, and hard work. And we brought those home to the athletes for those first 20 years. And then we realized that those weren't the only skills. That the thing that were really needed to add with those skills were responsibility and accountability. And so over the course now of probably 25 years, we then had 6 skills, and then within the last 5 years, we added the 7th skill, which is service. And basically, the 6 of these skills are about you, the athlete or the person, and they're very important. Discipline is basically doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. And when I said originally that there's 21 days, everything is designed around these skills, teaching them at camp and then reinforce them. And the only kind of discipline there is self-discipline, and it's a learned skill. And we help them learn it by putting them in a situation to where they have to discipline themselves to do a multitude of things throughout the 21 days. Dedication. Dedication is very important because they're going to have to dedicate themselves for 21 days of a tough camp in order to get to the end and graduate. So dedication becomes very important in accomplishing anything in life. Sacrifice. They're going to have to sacrifice some things to get through camp. They're going to have to sacrifice some good time, hanging out, talking to each other, being on their cell phone, talking, all those things. They're going to have to give up that time in the afternoon so they can get back, they can rest, okay, and they can focus and get ready for the next practice. So they're going to give that. They're also going to sacrifice just by going for 21 days. They're going to learn what sacrifice is by doing it. Hard work. Hard work is the key to the whole camp system, is that hard work is basically, we have a definition of hard work and they have a definition of hard work. And in 21 days, that definition will change. And we will move them from where they are now to where we believe they should be. Responsibility is that they are responsible for these 21 days and what they do there. And in the end, they will be held accountable for what they do. So those 6 skills are about themselves. The 7th is service, is once you learn who you are, we believe that it's very important that you need to pass on to other people. So we have a program at camp which is called the Smile Network. It fixes kids around the country or around the world with that have cleft palates. We take donations, and then the camp matches those donations. And over the course of the last 10 to 12 years, we fixed 50 kids' faces throughout the world. So, and we're pretty proud of that. And the athletes that come to camp partake in that same situation. The other thing we have is that Bo mentioned graduation a little bit. Everybody that comes to camp graduates. We have 2 classifications of graduates. We have a graduate, and we have a graduate with shirt. And that's what's called the I Did It shirt. And this shirt has been around for 37 years. We started it when we first started the camp. And basically, it is a statement of achievement. It's a statement of, I have gone here for 21 days and I have done what is necessary to earn this shirt. And I emphasize earn. This shirt is not just given if you come to camp and you show up. Camp is not about showing up. Camp is about coming and doing your best and the quest for excellence. And that's what it teaches, and that's what this shirt represents. It's very significant. People that have been to camp for a long time, 20, 25, 30 years later, still have this shirt because it identifies and signifies what they did and what they've done over these 21 days. You earn it. Everybody starts with 1,000 points, and this point system came from Ranger School. Everybody starts with 1,000 points. You have to have 700 points to graduate and get your shirt. It's not on a sliding scale. It's not on a curve. You have to have 700 points to graduate. About 80 to 85% of the points earned are all in the athlete's control. There's very few that are outside, and that's things that happen as camp. And what happens is everybody starts with 1,000 points, and points are deducted. You have to be on time. You have to have clean clothes. You have to do your workbook. There's a lot of things that are required to do in order to make sure that you maintain that status and enough points to graduate. But it's a very significant thing. It's something that's very special. It's things that if they earn it, they'll be very proud of it. And not everyone earns it at camp. And the number of kids that earn it at camp go from anywhere from 65 or 70% all the way up to 90%. It just depends upon the camp and the individuals. So it's a very special shirt. It's a thing that kids, when they come to camp, they may not think about it much to begin with, but as camp goes on, the value of it and getting it becomes more and more and more. So it's something that we have done for 37 years. It becomes the basis of what they do. It represents what they do, what they've done, and they'll be quite proud if they earn it. Now, I'd like to turn this back over to Sue.
Okay, thank you to Jay and Bo, and hopefully they both gave you a really good sense of what this camp is all about. I'm just going to go over a little bit of housekeeping stuff just to share with some things that we think are really unique and special about our camp. Our website is great. It's very user-friendly. It's intensivebasketballcamps.com. Registration is about as easy as it gets. You can register under the Register tab or any one of the Sign Up Today links that you see across the site. Just to give you a heads up, we do require an initial deposit of $500 due at the time of registration. And we really want you to take the time to read our cancellation policy under the FAQ page for a more detailed explanation of our policies and procedures. One thing I want to point out that we're really pretty proud of is that unlike most major retail purchases, we know this is a big chunk of money, and we offer installment payment plans that can be made in $500 increments, either online, over the phone, or by mail. So again, we know this is a lot of money to invest in your son's future, but we also want to make it as manageable for you as we can. Again, just please read the information on our website regarding deposits and final payment due dates. We don't take lightly the trust and financial commitment you're putting on us to train your player. And we're going to offer some other cool stuff like some performance wear gear to purchase for camp. And we will have a camp store on site at the residence hall for kind of basic necessities and camp merchandise. Again, all this is covered, on our website, but just to give you a heads up, with respect to travel information, the check-in for camp is Sunday, July 5th, between 1 and 4 p.m. If you're going to book a flight to the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, it should arrive no later than 3:30 p.m. And then again, check the registration page if you'll need shuttle service and the accompanying fee that goes with that. And really, one of the best aspects of our camp is our veteran customer service manager, Kelly. And I gotta say, how often are any of us lucky enough to deal with the same person when it's something as important as this? When you call here, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get Kelly, and Kelly is going to know you on a first name basis um, by the time it's all done. If you have questions about anything, she will help you out. She's been with us for several years, and she's just a priceless resource for providing assistance to parents. On that note, our response time to all inquiries is always within 24 hours during the business week. We send regular updates via email on what to expect leading up to camp. So we have been getting a lot of questions online here, which is great. Keep them coming. If your question has not been answered yet, it's only because the people fielding them wanted to give them specifically to Bo or Jay to have them answer in person. So again, just if you have any questions, I'm going to hand the mic back over to either Bo or Jay. I'm not sure which one. And again, between Joe and Bo, oh my goodness, Jay and Bo, they've got a combined 65 plus years of athletics training between them. So if they don't know it, I don't know who does. Again, if you miss parts of this webcast or you want to just tell someone else about it, we will have a recorded version available on our website, which is intensivebasketballcamps.com. Again, thanks for your time, and if you've got any questions, now is the time. I'm going to hand it over to Bo.
Thank you. We have a couple questions that I'll answer, and I appreciate the questions. So if you have any other questions, you can keep those coming. The first question that was asked was, would the players be separated by positions? And the answer to that question is yes, they'll be separated in positions by positions, definitely in skill sessions, and not the whole time in running, but they'll be separated sometimes during running. I know people say, well, why did you don't separate them during running each time? Because we want them to be able to run with, if they're a post player, we want the post players to be able to run with the guards and the guards run with the post players. So we won't separate the running all the time, but the skill sessions we'll separate most of those, and then some of the skill sessions we'll do all together. Question 2 is, how much court time every day? It'll be anywhere from 4.5 to about 5 hours of court time each and every day. So we'll average that each and every day for court time. And then the third question was, will there be any games played? And we'll have game times in the evening after dinner. So we will have some games that we'll play. So you will get opportunity to play games, but all the games will be in the evening after dinner. So I think I'll pass it over to. I guess I got another question. So, they asked about accommodation for players. The players all will be staying in the dorms at St. Catherine's University. So they'll be staying there. All of them be in the dorms. There will be a camp counselor that'll stay there as well, so they won't be there by themselves. So they'll be supervised. So they'll be there. So hopefully that answered that question about whether the accommodations for the player. Question for me was, am I offensive or defensive coach? I'm both, because I feel like I have to be a mix of both offensive defense. Some people say, well, you got to pick one. Well, it's hard for me to pick one because I go back to my college days. I was a scorer. If I had to pick one, it would be offense. But in college, I was a defensive player of the year for 2 straight years. So I did both of them. So I don't have a preference to which one, but I try to teach both of them with the same amount of passion as I would if it was one or the other. Another question is, how much running will it be? Well, it'll be quite a bit of running. If you played for me in high school, we run and we run and we run. So it's quite a bit of running. So, and a lot of players ask how much running it is, and this is what I say. We run up and down the court all the time. and nobody complains about running up and down the court. So, we'll run out, but we'll run not only on the court, but we'll do some outside running. We'll do some track running. We'll do some running through the neighborhood. So we'll do a lot of different running. So it'll be quite a bit of running during this. This is all about peaking yourself out, not only mentally, but physically. So that running is part of that. Another question is, can the campers leave for the weekends? And the answer is no. Once you get there, you're there for the whole 21 days. There's no leaving off campus. I'm gonna turn this over to Jay, and I think he'll elaborate on this question a little bit more.
Yeah, this is a very important question that people ask, is can the kids leave on weekends? And this goes back to what I talked about to begin with, is the focus of the camp. The thing that makes this camp completely different is the ability to stay at camp for 21 days, is that it increases their focus. When they go off in the afternoon or on weekends, they lose their focus. What we do is we immerse them in this basketball culture for 21 days. They think about basketball, they interact with basketball, they talk about basketball. They don't have any distractions. And that's the thing that allows this process to work better than anything else. And that's the thing that allows it to go deep. So that everything that they do for 21 days revolves around basketball. Another question that someone asked is, are there chaperones? Is that what we do? Is the staff stays in the dorm with them? So there's staff on site with them all the time. There's bed checks at night at 11 o'clock, and then the staff wakes them up in the morning. The staff lives in the dorm with them. Therefore, again, it's this immersion. Probably one of the greatest question is exactly what that question is. Can they leave her on weekends? It's the immersion that makes this camp so focused and so intense. And it's the one thing that no other basketball camps have. And it's the thing that people don't understand, right, about learning to live something full-time, 24 hours a day, that allows them to grow and to develop at a faster pace. If your son gets sick or hurt, we have a full-time staff of trainers. If he needs to, there's a schedule that's posted every day. It has the trainer's number on it. You can get a hold of a trainer at any time if he gets sick or if he has a problem with that. If he gets injured while at practice, there's a trainer there. If it's necessary, they will take him to the hospital. So there's people on staff the entire time to make sure that there's no problems with your athlete if he gets sick or hurt. Okay, there's background checks on all the staff, all the counselors, and as I said before, the staff ratio is one staff person for every 10 campers. And as I said before, they stay in the dorm. They're in the dorm. And they're bed checked every night. Is that the athletes or the campers are not allowed to get into a car anytime during camp. It stops them from having some of their buddies come by and take them out for 2 or 3 hours. Right? They can only walk wherever they want to go. They can get on a bus. They cannot get into a taxi cab. All these rules over the course of the years have been designed to keep track of them, give them enough freedom where they can walk, but not enough where they can get in a car and get in with other people and take off. So those things are very important. All the practices are open to all the parents. We have nothing that is not open to anybody. You can come, you can watch, you can see what's going on at any time. You can come to the practices, you can come to the runs. Everything is very open. We want you to see what's going on. We want you to see how it's handled, and you want to see the difference between this camp and any other camp. Right? There are some games that will be played, but it's not necessarily about game stuff. It's about individual development. And if they get better individually, this is one of the things that I would say people don't understand is if they get better individually, they will be better in games. And you have to learn that. And the only way you can learn that is doing it over and over with repetition. All right. Can they, another question, can they keep their cell phones with them? Yes, they can. As most young people, they have a cell phone and everything, but there are rules with cell phones is that they can use them, they can talk, they can interact with all that, but once they walk into the basketball facility, they're not allowed to use their cell phones. They have to put them away because here again, everything that's done at camp is done for a specific reason. You can pretty much ask me anything and I'll tell you why we do it and why it works. Okay, cell phones is that once they walk into the basketball facility, they're there, okay, to get better at basketball. They're there to focus on basketball. They're not there to be distracted. So there's a lot of things that go on. There's a lot of things that go on at camp that people have questions with. Some of the runs, they talked about the run. Bo was talking about running. Basketball is a sport of running. And I think one of the people, campers over the course of the years had the greatest comment about running. And he said, when I went to camp, I found out that running didn't have so much to do with my legs as it did with my head. Right? And when you can run and you can push people and you can get them tired, you get the other side in basketball tired by running, right? By having a running and making the other side keep up with you. Okay. There's an old saying is that the legs feed the wolf. You have to be able to run. You have to be able to push yourself. And that's what camp is. Camp is getting them to where they're a little bit not comfortable and getting them to the wall and then taking them beyond their wall and continually moving that wall over the course of 21 days until they're very excited that mentally, physically, and emotionally, they are in a completely different place. Another good question in 21 days, is there time off? Yes, there is. Is that on Sundays, there's time off for church. There's a relaxed schedule. Usually Sunday nights are off. One time during the camp, we'll have a soccer tournament. The idea of that here again is mental rest is that you can't keep pushing them every day, right? They have to have some mental rest. So we have a soccer day to where they can get some cross training, do some different things, have some fun at the same time. We have another special event, entertainment, that we will do during the camp. It's kind of like a surprise for them, but a lot of the things is we do with the intent for them to grow and get better. So 21 days is a long time. It is, but the focus is about basketball. The focus is about getting them better and better and better. All right. I think there's been a lot of great questions. I think one of the last ones is that people in the dormitory. That's probably one of the things that makes it special is the staff is in there and they're in the dorm and they're around the kids all day. And it, again, it builds an unbelievable relationship between the staff and the kids. One of the things that you want to do is you want kids to believe that you know what you know about basketball, but the other thing you want to know is that they care. And by Bo being there, being around, being seen, he's making a statement to your son that I believe in this system. I believe that you can get better, and I'm here to make you better, right? And if you listen to me, and if you listen to Bo, he'll get you through camp. It will be hard, but it'll be unbelievable rewarding in the process. So there's a lot of questions and answers. Some of them are answered on the intensive basketball .com. We want to thank you for listening here. One of the things that we say, and it's a very simple thing, is that intensity isn't for everyone, but neither is success. Intensity is something that most great athletes have, okay? And you can go through every sport and you can say, what about this player? And he said, the guy is unbelievably intense. He plays hard. You might not be the most gifted, right? But intensity can make the difference. It can make a difference. It's a game changer. And then you can go in every sport and you talk to people that know the sport, they'll tell you that guy is really intense. He's not a talented athlete, but he's an intense athlete. So Make sure that if you have any questions, call. Let us know if we can answer any other questions. Sue said something about Kelly, our customer service person, is great to work with. The coaches here will answer any of your questions, so don't hesitate to call. It's a situation and it's a camp system that's very different. I know people play games in the summer. I know there's a lot with AAU. Okay? The thing that they don't understand is the intensity of the camp, the immersion in the camp, the focus of the camp is what makes the difference. And it's the same thing I tell people that come to the 28-day camp in wrestling is that you come to this camp for 21 days and do what Bo tells you to do. When you leave, you won't be the same person. You'll be a better basketball player and a whole lot better person when you leave. And that's what 21 days of basketball can do for you. And we're here for you, and we're here to help you make a decision. Okay? If you have any questions, let us know. Visit our website. Thank you for signing on, and hopefully we'll see you this summer.